Come to Me Without a Word is the title that I've given for this exhibition, and it directly relates to how objects can have a visceral or emotional effect on us, often through memory, or that someone's given it to us, or become special through circumstances or events. My interest in found objects, and I guess my love of found objects, comes from childhood. So my father in the 70s would take us most weekends to the tip, and as children we were able to collect whatever we found interesting all over the tip face, scramble all over it, and take home whatever we thought was interesting, and we did, and it kind of developed an interest in things and random things. I would often find two random things together and thought that was funny, or thought that was strange. Barbie dolls next to a wheel, and I would join them together, and the narrative was interesting to me. I do find a lot of absurdity and humour within the dark and broken aspects of life. Because of my own personal experiences with that, there's always something strange and odd and funny about calamity and disaster. In this exhibition, I've used various materials. Some of them are made of beeswax. I've made a hot water bottle out of beeswax, and it's quite interesting to me when I take a very familiar object and remake it in an unexpected material, but also it's a material that's directly associated with nature, but also with the warmth of the body. It would melt. So if I actually held that hot water bottle, then it would start to change its shape. And I've also made a violin that's got a skin of felt made around it. And it's kind of similar. If you try to play that violin, you sort of have this kind of visceral relationship with it. It's hairy and soft and warm and like an animal body. Felt is a really interesting material because it comes directly from the animal, from the sheep. And it doesn't require any machinery to be made. It's just the wool and my hands. So it's interesting to me because it's that direct contact between the artist and material. So something of me, I feel like, goes into the making of that fabric. Because it's an insulative material, it will hold sound and warmth. It's also sort of skin-like. It's sort of human and animal at the same time. I've also used materials that are associated with repair, like bodily repair, human illness, and like blankets and bandages, clothes. To make a connection between the broken object and human brokenness. Breasts are interesting to me because they introduce a feminine aspect to an object that would not necessarily be so. And I've used other body parts with objects to bring the human back into the object, because objects that are discarded and broken, they've lost that connection with a human body. And my work kind of brings the human body back into the object. So I've made a cricket ball that has been attached to a breast, and I think about the actual bodily relationship to the object. So with the cricket ball, you hold it in your hand, and cricketers, they blow on it and rub it to get it all smooth to play with it. So And this is kind of interesting in relation to the breast, I think. And yeah, other objects in the show are also like that. So I'm thinking about how the object itself is used by the human body and playing with that. Play is very central to my process. Once you associate a word with an object, it changes the perception of that object, sometimes quite dramatically. So you see it like a new thing, even though it is the same thing that it was before. In the exhibition, I have quite a few ladders, so they kind of, and the particular broken ladder that I've made, I've remade the section between, and I've put little suspender belt straps to join on, so it's kind of playing with that ladder in a stocking or a leg that you would have. It has feet on the bottom of the ladder, and I also play with that the word racket, that it can actually mean a noisy mob. Yeah, there's lots of fantastic words like that that flip things over. Well, objects are quite interesting because they already have associations in our minds and in our dreams even. They're quite deep-seated inside our own psyche. And even for generations, things will be symbolic or metaphoric or even have personal meaning that we're not always conscious of. When you have broken objects, you have the first part of that story, but not the last part, particularly if they've had a past life, they've got a history in that brokenness. And it also tells a bit of story about an event that happened. So it could be something quite cataclysmic, like it might have toppled from somewhere and smashed, or it could be like brokenness over deterioration of like a neglect over time. So that kind of sets up a storytelling within the object. And also, from a sculptural point of view, brokenness presents a hole or a fracture or even a split between two things that allows for some other thing to be inserted in that spot, something unexpected. So a lot of my works start like that, by looking at the brokenness as an opportunity for invention. And if you bring another object, you make up an imagined story from joining those two parts together. So I find that really exciting, and it makes me laugh.